It's Monday morning in Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha, the home of the Chief Stearman Airport, something like that. Contemplating this morning for a long time the issue of legal costs in South Africa. Now, the legal costs basically relate to the recovery of legal fees and disbursements on various tariffs, depending on the scale that is used. But more importantly, if you look at it in pure economic terms, what it is basically punishing a person for bringing a matter to court and being unsuccessful. It has a particular punishment aspect to it, deterrence, rehabilitation, whatever that might be. Certainly, both parties pay their own lawyers, and the successful one is then entitled to have his money reimbursed, so to say. And I've been contemplating how this entire costs system contributes to the economy, the GDP. Well, several issues that I just find untenable. The first being that the legal aspect of deterring people from bringing their rights to the fore before a court. And here I have to detour for the simple reason that rights are respected in the public without enforcement, and enforced in the courts without the public. Well, these are some of the considerations of the tariff system, the scaling system, of the cost system. And this applies to the service providers, the legal practitioner being the service provider of legal services. And then what you have is the sheriff, various other service providers to the legal practitioners. But they're not pure service providers. In many cases it is that they are pure service providers, but some of them have got a quasi-governmental character, such as sheriffs, such as the cost consultants, the advocates that are employed by attorneys and the overheads of firms, and then much of the costs are time-based. The number of hours multiplied by the rate as indicated in the tariff, or the number of pages multiplied by the rate as indicated in the tariff. In any event, the manner in which it contributes to the economy, whether it's positive or negative or neutral, is yet to be determined, in my opinion, since the expenditure by the law firm and the expenditure by the client and the expenditure on other aspects, private investigators, actuaries, medical legal reports and all those type of aspects, really creates a very difficult money trail. Now, in this regard, the money trail is to identify the contribution of that particular expenditure revolving around the cost system to the GDP, the consumption function of the economic equation, and how then do we maintain it? How then do we improve it? How do we plan to improve it and strategize for it in the future? Whether it's via Parliament, whether it's by the Ministry of Justice, whether it's by the Rules Board, all these type of aspects that need to be dealt with. And the contribution to justice is just as important as the contribution to the economy. Nowadays we have various definitions of justice. One of those definitions of justice relates to global justice, transformative justice. What is justice in South Africa, where you have the historical aspects of differences in wealth, discrimination, and then how does that global justice arrive, or its contribution to global justice, but how does that basic sense of justice arise? When you're looking at global justice, you're looking at internet disputes, international law disputes, the application of foreign law within your country, and that applies to every country, because there is that sense of global justice. One might even say that there's a duty to consider global justice when you're using digital formats, and even imports and exports have these matters in common. When you look at, for example, as I mentioned earlier, the cost system, and you look at non-maintenance of municipality buildings, one may equate the two in the sense that there is no maintenance of the cost system. It has been reviewed, and Law Commission has sought inputs, Legal Practice Council has sought inputs, there are many other organizations who have an interest in this matter. But really, it hasn't been specifically dealt with in accordance with all its variables so that it can be reduced to an easily analyzed aspect. Another aspect on the cost system is the VAT and taxes paid. So whatever is indicated there, less 15%, and then obviously you have taxes for the different role players in terms of their personal and business income tax. You see, nothing can be left out of the scope of an analysis, and this is a problem that I find in the legal system. Take, for example, the concept of the interest of justice. Is that interest of justice over the long term the overriding factor? Over the short term, can it still be used in the exercise of discretion when you know that the interest of justice will change depending on the time period associated and the purpose and the goals that is associated with that particular interest of justice? Many people will say, well, don't reinvent the wheel and all types of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the bottom line is, currently what you have is statistics and mathematics, and you look at data science, and all you have there is the fact of the matter that anything that is not done in accordance therewith can be disproved by it. That includes judgments, the application of discretion, the application of interpretations. There is no longer a sense of power that you need to accommodate. What in fact is now going on is that the sense of corruption that is being accommodated. But yes, I will continue with this discussion